Hey, I am Aastha Jayaswal. The topic for this video is security attacks in wireless sensor networks. The content of this videos are following. Wireless sensor network is a type of ad hoc network. It comprised of a bunch of nodes that are basically sensors and also bunch of base stations. Wireless sensor network have limited resources like memory, energy, etc. Nodes can play two roles, that is, they can collect data and they can transmit data to base station. Mainly they collect environmental data such as temperature, pressure, humidity, noise, etc. How to define an attack? Any unauthorized access that destroy, expose, alter, disable or steal the confidential or important details are attacks. In wireless sensor networks, disrupt equipment operation, change processing control, corrupt stored data are counted as attacks. Different attacks involves different weapons and can cause different effects. Attacker can be a person, group, or even a computer program that can cause an attack. Security is necessary in every field. WSN was developed for helping military as armies wish to measure the strength and location of their enemies. One of the military application is SOSUS, the Sound Surveillance System, which was used during Cold War. SOSUS can detect movement of enemies by the frequency of sound. Along with that, other applications are environmental monitoring, health monitoring, habitat monitoring, and disaster recovery. Usually, sensors are deployed and placed in an inaccessible area. Once a node is deployed, it is impossible to know about the position of node. That becomes easy for attacker to capture and destroy the node. Therefore, providing security is essential. Now the question is, for providing security in WSN, can we apply traditional security techniques? The answer is no. Traditional security techniques can't be applied to WSN because in WSN the resources like energy, bandwidth, processing capabilities are limited. Therefore, we need new ideas for security in WSN. Vulnerability analysis will show us what is the risk percent of attack in WSN. There is a physical vulnerability due to inaccessible location of node as discussed earlier. Along with that, the positioning of node is usually at insecure places. Attackers can physically access the node easily and can read the secret information stored in node memory. Since WSNR wireless technology, the data packet travels free in air. That makes it easy for attackers to capture the data by potentially adequate resources. Sensor node are themselves a router and data packet travel through multiple hosts and operate in multi-hop environment. Thus, sensor nodes are prone to failure. Constraint of WSN that makes traditional security impractical in WSN. First, low energy power. Energy of nodes in WSN is limited and not chargeable. Limited memory computational capacity of nodes make it difficult to process complex operations. We will need energy for providing security. First, for ciphering, deciphering and verification of signatures. Second, for transmission and management of security material. Third, for storage of key. The main challenge in frontline for security is to minimize the consumption of energy and to maximize the performance. There are a few key points that must be considered for security purpose. Availability, integrity, confidentiality, freshness, authentication, access control, and non-repudiation. Availability says that the service of network is always available for an authorized person. Integrity says that there will not be modification in data during transmission. Confidentiality says that the data will be revealed to the recipient only. Freshness says that every message is fresh or there is no delay in transmission. Authentication says that only correct message is received by receiver. Control gives to the legitimate participant a means to detect the message coming from external source of the network. Non-repudiation ensures that the origin of message cannot deny having sent the message. Along with these key points, other issues to be considered are: first, key management. Both the sender and receiver must have correct keys. Second, securing routing is the next step. It says that essential routing protocol must be used. Prevention of denial of service is the third issue. Breakdown of hardware, programming error, exhaustion of resources, environmental condition, or any complicated interaction between this factor can cause denial of service attack. Denial of service attacks prevent or reduce the use of computer resources, interrupts or delay service, making network become unavailable or isolate legitimate user from the network. We can classify the attacks into the passive attack and the active attacks. The passive attack is limited to listening and analyzing the exchange traffic. It is difficult to detect but easy to prevent. While active attack, an attacker tries to remove or modify the message transmitted on the network. It is easy to detect but difficult to prevent. Most known attacks of WSN are as following: spoofing attack, sinkhole attack, hello flood attack, grey hole attack, blackmail attack, exhaustion attack, tempering attack, jamming attack, wormhole attack, black hole attack, cyber attack, and selective forwarding attack. In black hole attack, the node changes the routing information in such a way that the data packet travels from node itself, and then it gets all the data while it stops transfer of data between other nodes. This can cause denial of service attack by dropping all the received packets. Moving on to the hello flood attack. In many routing protocols, to establish a topology and to discover the neighbor node, an hello packet is used. In hello flood attack, an attacker sends a flood of such messages to flood the network using high power transmitter. Flooding will prevent other messages from being exchanged. Jamming attack. It is one of the well-known attacks on wireless communication. In this attack, the radio channel is disturbed by sending useless information on the frequency band used. Jamming can be temporary, intermittent, or permanent. Jamming attack can manipulate the sensor according to its poisonous will. It is a kind of denial of service attack. To handle powerful jammers, we can use spread spectrum technique. Cyber attack. In this attack, attacker uses the identity of other nodes in order to take part in transmission process. Cyber attack can significantly reduce the effectiveness of fault-tolerant schemes such as distributed storage, multi-path routing, and topology maintenance. Selective forwarding attack. In WSN, the node plays the role of router. In selective forwarding attack, a malicious node may refuse to forward certain messages and simply drop them. But somehow there are chances that neighbor node will conclude that this node is failed and they can seek another route for transferring the data packets. Wormhole attack. This attack uses more than one malicious node. The attacker nodes are placed at very powerful position, that is at the end of network. The idea behind this attack is to forward the data from one malicious node to another malicious node through the tunnel between them. Spoofing attack. An attacker masquerades as another device. Spoofing can facilitate a variety of traffic injection attacks such as evil twin access point attack. But it is desirable to detect the presence of spoofing and eliminate them from the network. Sinkhole attack. Carried out by hacking a node or introducing a fabricated node in network. The malicious node tries to guide the traffic from other node towards itself. The intruder or sinkhole can then easily alter the data, compromising the security of network. Now, identity replication attack. In this this attack, an intruder creates an own low-cost node called clone node and misinforms the network to acknowledge them as a legitimate node. This problem arises because the sensor nodes are unshielded. The intruder can falsify sensor data, suppress legitimate node, or extract the data from the network. Now, tampering attack. In this attack, attacker physically accesses the node. This attack is also known as node capture attack. Attacker can gain complete read-write access to the microcontroller. Second, can read out RAM completely. Third, can influence sensor reading. And fourth, can manipulate radio communication. Blackmail attack. A malicious node broadcasts a false information about another legitimate node that the legitimate node is malicious to eliminate it from the network. Now, exhaustion attack. In this attack, a malicious node deliberately tries to consume the resources like battery power and bandwidth of other node of network. For this purpose, the malicious node can send unnecessary root requests, can send control message, or can send stale information. For example, by packet replication attack, an adversary consumes bandwidth and battery power of other node of networks. The attacker models. We can name attacker model into the strong attacker and realistic attacker model. In strong attacker model, we consider that the attacker is present before and after the deployment of node, which is kind of unrealistic. There comes the realistic attacker model, in which the attacker is able to supervise a fixed percent of communication channel after deployment. Let's discuss about the security in OSI layers. First layer is physical layer. This layer deals with the specification of frequency band. The common attacks at physical layer are jamming and the physical attack, that is the node capture. For jamming, we can use spread spectrum as prevention technique, while for node capture, we can use resistance hardware like MADLAB. Next layer is MAC layer. This layer manages the access to radio channel and also control errors. The attacker can disturb the entire data packet just by inducing a collision in 1 byte of data. The victim have to retransmit the data packet again and again, which will drain its energy and ultimately causes death of node. The prevention can be done by using small data packets. Network layer. The common attacks of this layer are black hole attack, selective forwarding attack, Cybele attack, wormhole attack, and identity replication attack. Prevention can be done by authenticating all the messages. Ways of prevention are monitoring, probing, and redundancy. Monitoring is the way to detect the abnormal behavior in the network. In this approach, a node acts as watchdog to supervise the transmission. Second is probing. It is the way to detect the breakdown areas in the network. In this approach, packets are periodically sent to all the nodes in network to detect breakdown. Redundancy. It is the approach that suggests to send the data packets through several routes several times, so that at least one part delivers the packet to the destination. Although this method is energy consuming, but it increases the difficulty for an attacker of stopping the traffic. Here are few attacks and their defenses at different layers of network. At last, concluding this, the popularity of WSN is increasing rapidly and are interest of many researchers. The security challenges in WSN are due to more restriction of energy, computation capability, and communication. Therefore, appropriate prevention technique must be adopted. Thank you.